everybody, it's your girl Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama. And you know me, I gotta keep you laughing. I gotta make you laugh. I have a guest on today, and I do my videos straight out. I don't stop and fix nothing. But when I tell you that I have been doing the Black City Radio entry for so long that it is just in my head, so I gotta think of a new intro. So I want y'all to help me to think of a new intro that's just for the Black Expat Journey podcast. Okay, so that is your assignment for the week. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, we bring the most amazing guests on our show, and I really do appreciate the love and support that you guys give and how you share how things really help you, because that's super, super, super important. So, as some of you know, Black Expats in Panama, Beep Tours, has moved into Colombia. Oh, yes, we are enlarging our territory. I just got back from a test run of the total tour, and it is amazing. For those of you that don't know, the first tour sold out, but if you want to be on the waiting list in case there's any cancellations, and also we will be hosting another tour in December and another one sooner if I have to. Let's just see how it goes. But because once the footage comes back, baby, on this tour we're doing in August, y'all gonna be beating down the door like, Charlotte, you got to take me tomorrow. So we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. But anyway, in building a relocation tour, it is extraordinarily important that you have your professionals on board, okay? And, that is a very important part of relocating. I can tell you about my opinion and my experiences all day long, but there's nothing better than hearing the information from professionals who work in that industry all the time. So I've already brought you our lawyers, Serrano and Martinez. Dr. Gloria from Toban Hospital has been on an interview with us. And so now I want to take this opportunity today to introduce you to Miss Angela Berrio. She is an insurance agent in Colombia, and I met her in the Medellin region. I don't know, Angela, you probably do further than Medellin, but I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about that. So, insurance is very important. And so we wanted to have her on today to just talk to us a little bit about being insured in Colombia. So welcome to the show, my love.
Thank you, my lady Charlotte. That was great meeting you here in Medellin. I loved it.
Mhm. Yes, me
Amazing,
too.
amazing talk. So, well, thank you for allowing me to be on your show, on
Mhm.
your YouTube channel. I'm really pleased and honored that you have selected me. Let me just give out a brief introduction to all of our audience. I've been in the market in Colombia over 15 years as an insurance agent. I'm a licensed agent in Colombia, and I sell private health insurance to the top provider, Suda, and I also offer other types of insurance that we will get to it as we go in our interview. I specialize in expats, foreigners. Why? Number one, because I speak very well English, and that makes it easier for the language barrier for any of our clients that are planning to move to Colombia, to visit Colombia. I just make your life easier. I treat my clients with silk gloves. I want them to feel at home, that they feel comfortable in what they're, learning about insurance, to navigate the system. And they always have me as a support throughout all the time they're here with me as my clients. So like I said, I've been in the business making life easier for all the insurance needs that any foreigner or expat may need when they come to Colombia or move to Colombia. And again, I do this throughout the whole country. Like, you can live in Medellin, in Bogota, in any of our cities, and I am here also available to supply you with any of the services.
I am just always, I'm very impressed with the insurance options that are available in Colombia. You're a Colombian, right?
Yes, I was born in
You're-
Colombia, and I was gonna say I grew up in the States. I was brought to the States when I was 7 years old from my
Mhm.
parents, which I'm really grateful because they gave me that opportunity and that vision of a different culture like the United States. I'm actually a U.S. citizen. I have dual
Mhm. Okay.
citizenship, And so that gave me this knowledge. And I tell my clients, listen, when you come to Colombia, you may find a barrier with Colombians that are very nice, very open-hearted. You see that, very smiley. We want people to come, but they're like more laid back. And you might find some frustration in getting answers quick or
Mhm.
resolving things quick. You know, when you go to a bank, it's like, oh my God, you got to sit there for one thing, 2 hours. You're not going to find that with me. I'm like American, half of my brain, like customer service is my thing. I'm a different agent. You can find a lot of agents, but number one, I speak English. I even find the appointments for my clients. I help them out and I go out of my way. So I came up with that phrase where I say, I treat my clients with silk gloves.
Excellent, excellent, and I mean that is true. And you being in a different country, because Panama is the same experience. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes things don't move at the speed of light that North
Exactly.
Americans expect. You know, even here in Central America. However, Carmen, you just try to get used to it. And I just said that the other day to Alfredo. I said, you know, Alfredo, I guess this is just how it is. This is
Right.
just how it is. It just happens so often that it's not an individual, it's a whole culture. So it just is how it is. And the best thing that we can do is to learn how to tranquil. Tranquil. We got
Right.
to bring it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people who are watching this are older people. So a majority of our clients and constituents are seniors, either retired or nearing retirement. And the first thing that we always think about is healthcare and how are we going to afford that healthcare.
Exactly.
Being in, you know, Colombia, healthcare is extraordinarily affordable compared to the US. But what, you know, type of health insurance basics would you start us out with as far as information for seniors coming to Colombia?
Okay. I work with a lot of young and senior,
Mhm.
all different age brackets, and that's okay. And I have insurance that we can create and tailor make for our client, right?
Mhm.
So I know that in Colombia, when you move, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but I'm going to give this
That's
Charlotte
fine.
information is that I know that migration, when you're trying to get a visa, either a nomad or a retirement visa or an investment visa or a marriage visa, you are required to have health to show that you have a coverage of minimum for a year or for your visa, right? So that I know for a fact, and I work with a lot of lawyers, so I've learned that legal part. So depending on the age, if I have a client that comes to me before age 69, I can offer them private comprehensive insurance through the top provider, Suda, the company I represent. It's a company that's been 80 years in the market. We're even in Panama, we're in Puerto Rico, we're in a lot of countries right now as a company that makes you feel like comfortable. You're with a good company with a lot of economic background and very strong. So that's number one. And our private comprehensive insurance that I just mentioned through Suda, if I can compare to something to the United States, it's like a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. You know
Mhm.
what the good news is? There's no out-of-pocket deductible.
Right.
No out-of-pocket deductible. I know in the US, and even in Panama, there's like 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 out-of-pocket deductibles. Our plans, no out-of-pocket deductibles. You have unlimited service to doctor's visits. You don't need referrals to see specialists, diagnostic exams, blood work, private room in our best hospitals. Colombia has great healthcare. It has a lot of development on
Mhm.
health and scientific research that in Colombia, there is a lot of leadership in that area, in the medical area. So that's the private I offer to clients that are under 69. I just, the client comes to me. I don't charge for, reaching out to me. I love to talk to my clients, get to know them, what their needs are, and orient them. Okay, this is what you need. Also, you may say, okay, but what about me if I'm above 69? then if you're above 69, we can work something out like through Access Card, Continental Travel Insurance that will also meet the requirement for your visa for a year. What's the difference? The travel will only cover you for accidents or emergencies. That's it.
Mhm.
No doctor's visit, no preventive care, what that I just told you in the beginning on the
Right.
private comprehensive. But why would you do this? Well, because you want your visa. Once you get your visa, your lawyer is going to turn into you our Colombian ID called Cédula de Extranjería,
Mhm.
cédula. With the cédula, then you can enroll under the government insurance, public
Okay.
government insurance.
Mhm.
Okay. Public government insurance is called E as in Edward, P as in Peter, S as in Sam, EPS. There's a huge difference between EPS and the private comprehensive I mentioned. Unfortunately, for those clients that are above 69, you can only opt for government insurance. At least have that as a backup in
Mhm.
case you have something catastrophic. You need hospitalization, you need an emergent and urgent heart surgery, something that is out of the ordinary. And some clients up to do that because they have no other choice, and then they pay out of pocket their doctor's visits, which is not as bad either.
Right. Is it free? Is the public service
No,
free?
the EPS, and I hope clients don't get misled because a lot
Mhm.
of people here ask their friend, and their friend is not the source. I'm the
Yes.
source. You can ask me,
Yes.
and honestly, I'll give
Exactly.
you the correct information. And it becomes gossip and like fake news and
Mhm.
stuff. So always go out to who you need to ask. Like you just said, you
Mhm.
interview professionals that know what they're doing so that people are not misled or,
Exactly.
or listening to things that are not correct. It's based on the income. So expats and foreigners get really scared. What about, I make a lot of, I have very high income. What do
Mhm.
you mean? 12.5% of my income? No,
Mhm.
it's based on a minimum wage in Colombia. So
Uh,
today, for example, the minimum wage in Colombia, I'm just going to round it off, is 1.5 million pesos per month. Pesos. Okay.
um,
12.5% of that could be, I'm just going to say something close to it. It could be 150,000 pesos per month for your EPS. That's not,
okay.
that's like what, 30, $40?
I don't know because let me tell you something. This whole pesos thing, it just keeps my mind messed up because I can't convert it fast enough. I guess you got to get used to it. So it would
Right.
be about 30, $40 a month, something like that.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And then it's something that I really encourage my clients on the EPS side. I really prefer clients that are really, really can, because of the age, if they're below 69, do the private
Okay.
comprehensive.
Yes.
Why? Number one, you have me.
Hmm.
You can call me. You can chat with me. Hey, Angela, how is it that I do this? Where do I go? Do you have somebody that you can recommend for my skin? Anything. I even schedule your appointments. Believe me, this is not something that agents do. I do it
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
like to feel, I want to make it easy. That's the
Hmm.
word, easy, easy. And you're going to love this country more because it's
Yes.
beautiful, but you're going to love it more having this customer service. But then if you have no other option and you need to do EPS, you
Hmm.
have to learn to navigate the system. I strongly recommend that you guys learn Spanish.
Hmm.
I even have good teachers that I can recommend. I have a lot of clients that tell me, hey, I need to learn Spanish because
Hmm.
I'm not going to be, on a restaurant with you
Absolutely.
ordering your food. You know what I mean? I can do your insurance, but not other stuff on your daily life. So it's important that you do learn Spanish. But then on the EPS, we can kind of give you some guidance, but not as strong as we do with the private comprehensive.
So that is very important. It's
Yes,
important in Panama as well, and any place you go where the language is different.
right.
It's just it's challenging,
It's challenging.
but it is very important. And just from my perspective, when I was in Medellin, the last two times, I feel like there's less of an English speaking community than in Panama.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. And so you definitely, when you're considering Colombia, you definitely just go ahead and get started now, before you even make that move. So, yes.
Exactly. And you know what
So,
advantage we have now, Charlotte, is the
yes,
artificial intelligence. It tells you everything. I mean,
it
you need to
does.
translate something, or how do I say this properly? It gives
See,
you the whole information.
See, we have, Google Translate is very big here. And they got some earbuds. I haven't heard great things about them though, as far as somebody speaking to you in Spanish and then it translating automatically. I don't have one and I haven't used it, but nevertheless, I think that we have technology that helps us, but I always think that, it's like when I'm in Colombia or if I'm in Panama, when they see you trying to speak the language, they're very patient. They're very
Right.
patient with you for the
Yes.
most part, and
Yes.
it encourages you to continue to try.
Right.
Um, so do you have so is it mandatory? Now you said once you get a residency, you can apply for, do you automatically apply for EPS? And she said EPS. That's
EPS,
EPS
good,
and
Charlotte.
it's in English. And also I want to say that the company you're talking about, Suda, is
Yes.
SURA, not SUDA.
No, it's SUR as in Robert A. Suda.
SURA, Suda. But from a lot of people listening to this speak English, so we're
Right.
we're hearing a D in there. Believe
Oh,
me. So
okay.
it
Okay.
in our head it's SUDA, but she's saying SURA.
Right.
And you mentioned that company is in a lot of other places in the world as well. So if somebody wants to look it up, and we'll have that
Yes.
flashed on the screen. So is it mandatory?
Okay. Now that you brought that up, I'm going to point out something.
Okay.
SURA, SUDA, the
Hmm.
leading company in Colombia as an insurance and health provider. We do homeowners insurance, we do life insurance, we do third-party liability, we do auto insurance, motorcycle insurance, you name it. Any insurance needs, ask me. So SURA, SUDA is not only a provider for the private sector, private comprehensive that I compared with a Blue Cross PPO, no out-of-pocket deductible, but also a provider for the government EPS insurance.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It is, man, when you get your cedula after you get your visa, right? Whatever type of visa it is that you got, you're gonna get a cedula. It is mandatory. I mean, it's up to you, but you should enroll, at least if you are over age 69, enroll under the government insurance because you don't want to be stranded,
Yeah.
something ill. You might be healthy, you may have excellent habits, you eat well, you exercise, but things happen, an accident. I wake up in the middle of the night with a terrible stomach ache, and it could be appendicitis. That needs hospitalization. It's out of the
Yes.
blue. Things happen out of the blues. So it's for your own benefit that you have something to cover you. If you don't, you'll have to pay out of pocket. Obviously, the out of pocket, I don't have the figures with me, but the out of pocket may not be as crazy as in the US that you can go bankrupt just because you don't have insurance. I
Yes.
mean, you lose your home, you lose everything, all your assets. But still, it's good to have it. And on the other hand, if you have the private comprehensive with me through SUDA and you're under 69, you're going to be like treated like a baby, VIP.
So when it comes to public, the public and actually what you get with the public product, the EPS,
Uh-huh.
is what a lot of people buy here in Panama. So they of course Medicare doesn't work internationally.
Uh-huh.
For the most part, there are some instances where you can use Medicare Advantage, but don't count on using your Medicare nowhere in the world except for the United
Exactly.
States.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? So the thing that's most important, so what some people do, because you have to have a plan for your health care. So
Exactly.
if you have your doctors in the United States, you have your relationships there, you go in for checkups, you go in for mammographies and things like that, you can schedule those things that you can schedule. So you're good. Some people go back to the States for a month just to do doctor's appointments and things like that. But where you have to be covered is in an emergency. And again, when you talk about the cost of healthcare, I always tell people one of the best pieces of advice I got moving to Panama was forget everything you know about the United States. This is Panama. Because
Oh,
when
I
you
love
go
that.
into
I
it,
love that.
they call it tip. This is Panama. And I think that when you make that mental adjustment, that it's so much easier on you, because even in the sense that you could be fretting over some things that you really don't need to fret about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So in this case, it would be a TIC. This is Colombia.
This is
And when I
Colombia.
say you might be fretting over something, most of us here and most people here in Panama, they have a coverage that will cover them in case of an emergency and hospitalization. Most of the other things you can afford out of pocket because they're just not what you expect. It's just not the expenses are like you said, Angela, it's not going to be something where you get sick and you end up being bankrupt.
Right.
I mean, medical emergencies are like one of the top reasons why North Americans go bankrupt, or have to file bankruptcy. But that's not like that. So stop, don't even think about that. Investigate what the cost of things are so you know what you can afford. And
Mhm.
then have something, because once you start getting into hospitalization, I don't care how inexpensive it is, it's going to be, that's going to be a little bit of a hit. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
It
It's going to be
is.
a little
It
bit of a
is.
hit.
I had a client who got had to be in the hospital. I don't remember. He had to get like a urgent surgery, and it was $5,000.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So I want to make something really clear to our audience. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm an agent. I represent SUDA for the private comprehensive insurance that I compare to the Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO.
Mhm.
Public government does not involve an agent.
Mhm.
There's no commission involved. It's something that every citizen has a right legally to enroll on their
Mhm.
own, right? But under my company, I created a special service. Why? You don't know how to enroll. It's everything is in Spanish.
Mhm.
And it's very complicated when when anything that's public, Charlie, you know this, and your audience knows this. It's a little bit political. And when
Mhm.
it's political and public, they make it hard and difficult. So I have a team that I hired and helps my client enroll. Obviously, I charge a fee for that. And we can
Mhm.
agree on that depending and talk to the client when we get to that. And that can only
That's good to
happen.
know.
Yes, and that can only happen once you have your visa and you have your cedula. But you're going to say to me, so what do I do so that I can get my visa? You either do private comprehensive with me if you're under 59 and it's a keep, I mean 69, I'm sorry, and it's a keeper, or you can't afford it, or even though it's comparable to the US, it's like outrageous. But anyways, you could say, listen, I'm retiring with a very low income retirement. I can't, we'll do the travel so that you can get your visa. Once you get your visa, you get your cellular, and then you may want to come to me or you might want to go to another person. It's okay. And say, listen, I need to enroll under the government insurance just because I need to be covered. I want to live here permanently. I want to live here 5 years in case something happens to me.
So what if you're not? Like, say for example, you are going to be just coming in and out of Colombia for a while
Uh-huh.
and you're
Uh-huh.
not a resident yet. You haven't applied for your visa. Can you apply for insurance or do you have to be a resident?
You don't, on my private health insurance, anybody
Yes.
can have it with a passport, with a cedula, whatever. I have clients who live in the United States or anywhere in Europe, and they keep their policy because it's so good. They come here, say for example, they're in, I don't know, in Europe or in the US, and their doctor tells them that they need a back surgery, and that's serious, a back surgery. With the out of pocket that they need to pay for that, because they haven't paid any money upfront for their insurance, and you know this, Charlotte, in the
Mhm.
US, say they have an out of pocket of $4,000. With $4,000, you can come to Colombia with my insurance, have money left over after your surgery for your hotel, whatever you need to do, and you have money left over and not do it in the United States and have to pay that out of pocket with our policy. With our policy.
Is dental, I mean, this could be a little bit off, but is dental a separate insurance
Okay.
policy? And do you deal with that?
This is what I'm going to tell you. Under our private comprehensive, there is the client is entitled for one dental, and if the client has any dental emergency, like say for example, oh my God, I was eating and I broke my front tooth and I look like awful. You and I wouldn't stand that, looking at ourselves in the mirror with something on our and so you call, you can go to our SUDA, we have our own dental clinics, or they go to your home and fix that situation for you at the convenience of your home. We have like a, how do you say this, like a mobile dental
Uh-huh.
minivan. They come to your home. I've used them. They come to your home, like practically in your living room. They'll put everything for you. I think they even have like a mobile chair that is adequate for the dental process. And if you need like something emergency, they'll do it in your home. Or you're in that you have a pain. Like they're not going to do the how do you say this when it's cosmetic? No cosmetic, no.
Uh-huh.
But it's just they're going to take care of the emergency so that you feel better until you actually go to a dentist and do whatever it is that you need to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when a do you sell like family policies? Is there such a thing as like a husband and wife getting a policy together?
Yes, yes. Like our plans, like the private comprehensive are actually called salud familiar, meaning health, family health. And
Mm-hmm.
what that means is, for example, you alone, you can be in the policy, just you, and it's still called familiar,
Mm-hmm.
salud familiar. Or you, your husband, and your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the whole family group under one same policy. Obviously, you pay a premium for each. It's not like, oh, all my other family members are going to enter at no cost.
So, we know that EPS is about 12%, I think you said, of the
12.5, yeah,
the national the
roughly.
national minimum wage, based on the national minimum wage. I know that with all insurance policies, it's, just absolutely impossible to give quotes and numbers because it just depends on pre-existing conditions and things like that. And so how does Colombia insurance differ from US insurance when it comes to maybe pre-existing conditions? And then just like, do you have any ballpark examples that you could give us
Yes,
as
I
far as
do. I have
cost?
them here for you. As far as pre-existing, that's very good that you brought that up. One important example, if someone comes to me and they've had cancer, that's not going to be insurable. That person,
Okay.
unfortunately. Something else that, and I hate to say that to clients, I feel like, oh, I don't want to say that, but those are the rules in the company. It doesn't come from me. HIV
And I
positive.
think, and I think most people that have been cancer survivors, or like you said, HIV, you just mentioned HIV positive. I think that more than likely, they might be disappointed, but they're not
They
surprised.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they're not
understand.
surprised.
Yes. So that diabetes too,
Mm,
it's a problem. Mm, what else do they look at that you might be surprised? That's why in the US it's so expensive. You know why? So expensive because in the US, they don't look at your height, your weight, if you're overweight, if whatever pre-existing, do they take you with pre-existings in the US? They do, right?
You know something?
I don't remember that.
I don't know if I've ever had to literally qualify for insurance. It's either been, through my husband's job or through my job and through your job. I mean, it's been a long time since I had like a job,
Right,
job, but
right.
you have like a 90-day waiting period. And a lot of times that stuff they don't, they don't ask you about pre-existing. Sometime
Wow.
when you're corporate. I mean, that's based on my memory. It's been, like I said, a
I
while,
know.
but
That's what I
I don't
remember
think,
when I lived
mm-mm.
there. And I was wondering because I don't want to say something
But
that
if
is not true now. I don't
but if you
know.
get it on your own, see, that's through a corporate entity. And health care in the United States, in my opinion, is one of the ways that the you keep a working class. Okay, because if you get insurance through Mr. Gilmore's term we used to use, like, or your corporate entity, you get to not do a lot of things that you would have to do on your own because the company is bearing some of
Right.
this, and basically they're, I guess I don't know what their checks and balances are with regard to health, but I know when you go in for an interview, you want to look your youngest, okay, and you
Uh-huh.
want to look your most spry self, and it also that waiting period gives them a chance to see if you have anything chronic. You're more than likely going to be out sick and stuff like that. So, they can let you go. But it is so impossible to afford health care as an individual that you almost have to work for a company that is going to allow you to pay a premium that is a lot less than, when you get a group rate premium,
Exactly.
that the company has negotiated, it's a lot less than if you were going to get it on your own. The other thing that they do is they make it really hard for you to afford things. So it's
Uh-huh.
like, unfortunately, if you have some insurance and you end up having to have an MRI, your copay could be significant depending on what kind of coverage you have. I don't know, maybe $500, maybe that high. But if you go in, but then when you get that bill from the insurance company, you see that the provider is only paying the insurance company maybe 50% of what they would charge an individual for the same service.
True.
So you get this deeply discounted amount that's passed on to the insurance company. But if you come in there and you don't have that insurance, you got to pay the full amount. And they may not let you just get it, and you may have to pay up front, or you may have to pay a certain percentage up front. So unfortunately, a lot of people go without health care. And I'll say one more thing about the health care, the way that I see it. The way that I see it, it was this big thing, Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a great, great, great proponent of that. Even though, like I just said, I've never been without insurance. I mean, not since I was a very young person. I've
Uh-huh.
always had, my husband has always had good insurance. I've always had good insurance. But I don't vote or just support things that support me. There were so many people that that I know they wasn't taking good care of themselves because they just couldn't afford to. So I was a
That's such
big proponent
so
of that.
sad.
But the
Mm-hmm.
other thing about it is that I'm an entrepreneur. And when you are an entrepreneur, one of the biggest setbacks and fear factors is, how am I going to insure my family? I know I have what it takes to step out here and do what I do and do it for myself. But the way the system is set up, if I leave that day job and do what I do for them so well for myself, my family may suffer. If an
Exactly.
emergency comes up, I could be bankrupt. My family could
Lose
die from
everything.
something that they can't, yeah, worse than that. So it's a way that I feel we are controlled. It keeps us controlled in the United
True.
States. And I could go on and on about that, but I won't.
I know.
But I won't. So anyway, that's kind of how it works there. So cancer, diabetes, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
like
the usual
cancer,
suspects.
cancer, diabetes. If you're, we measure something called the mass index percentage. So when a
Hmm.
client comes to me and he says, "Oh, I weigh this and this, and this is my height, and I do my ratio," and you are above that, I have to let you know. Listen, you need to lose some weight. Come back to me in 2 weeks. You need to lose 2 or 3 pounds, 4 pounds. It doesn't matter. But if it's something huge, I know the company is either going to postpone that person or might they say no. I had a client. Oh, I love that client. He's an American from Colorado. He's one of my first one before COVID. I mean, long time ago. And when I enrolled them before COVID and everything, I remember that I went with him to Suda to have all his tests done for the enrollment. Now it's not, it's so easy. They don't have you go anywhere and do, they
Yes.
believe on your word and they believe
Mhm.
on me as an agent. So whatever you tell me is a fact. If they happen to find out and notice, because they're not dumb, they have their own medical staff. And say you never told me you had cancer. And this cancer comes up again. The company and doctors can tell this was pre-existing and they throw you
Yes.
out. I
So
didn't even know.
that's
You
when
didn't
they'll
tell
do
me.
that's when they'll do the extensive research. But that's interesting that you talk about this. So hang on a second. BMI is what you're talking about. The body mass index, right?
Right,
BMI.
right,
So, I don't know what the standards are in other parts of America. So in the US, I think the last I knew, it was like if you were above 29%, you were obese.
right.
And then as 20 to 29% body fat, the mass index. And so I've been obese for a long time. But so are you talking more about morbidly obese or a little overweight?
I think morbidly, it's morbidly obese. And the reason why they do, I've had clients that work out a lot and they have really, they're built and they tell this is muscle.
Yes.
And I went to Suda and I say, explain this to me scientifically. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you so strict about it? Because they say that your heart has to work harder in order to move all that mass that is over your, what, I don't want to say standard, but you have a height,
See?
right? So it's got to be like coherent.
So, but when they do the BMI though, I think the BMI, well, see, now I'm really gonna have to
It's
look into
called
this.
it's called in Spanish, and we can look it up later.
Yes.
Índice de masa corporal.
See. So
Índice,
the
index, mass,
total.
percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Total.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But when they put you on those special machines though, that machine will separate muscle from fat.
True. True. I've done
So
that. I go
they
to a
measure
doctor.
the fat mainly. I think the problem is when you have a lot of fat, especially if you have a lot of muscle, you're going to weigh more. But that's when they will check your body mass index to see
Exactly.
where that weight is coming from. So that is oh my goodness, Angela, thank you for mentioning that. Very important to know.
Yes, it's very
Um,
important. And again, Charlotte, I work around with my clients.
mhm.
Like, oh, let's talk, let's see what it is. If it's 1, 2 pounds, we'll see. But if it's something that it's, bad, like, a lot, then, I suggest, listen, try to eat. And in Colombia, you know what the good thing is? You start eating so healthy. Everything's green. You
Very
walk
good.
around so much. You're not in a car just to go to the supermarket. I walk all day, lady. I walk.
I say, well, I don't, Cartagena was just hot as hell, so you would sweat off anything you did there.
I
But
know.
Medellin, Oh my goodness, the hills. You know, anybody that comes to Medellin, you got to be ready to do hills. I said, people that grew up here either have really strong knees or really bad knees by the time they get to be a certain age, because, you know, going up and down those, it's significant. So I actually think I lost a little bit of weight while I was
I'm
there.
sure you did. I'm sure. And
Mhm.
plus, you're eating here a lot of natural. We're very prone now. You see a lot of healthy choices in the supermarkets. We have a lot of small stores that are now enforcing healthy, low carb, etc. So that's good. So going back to the insurance, there's some pre-existings that will not be accepted, like I mentioned, aside from diabetes too, and the
Cancer
cancer
and HIV.
and HIV. But other things, you present them to me. You give me the medical history that you have from the United States, even if it's in English, the latest, no older than 30. I work with you. I explain to you, please provide this for me. I'll provide it to the company, and the company might say, listen, we will insure you, but anything that may happen because of that pre-existing will not be covered, or it will be covered. I cannot say it
Right,
depends.
right, sure.
It depends. It depends.
Sure.
What else can I say about the private? The good thing about also, I wanted to mention, aside the dental that you asked me, I was just in a meeting when I called you earlier. Oh, I love that meeting because they gave you such a say, for example, you we went behind the scene, behind stage, and we saw how Sura handles the emergency phone line for health. When you call from your home and you're in an emergency, whether it's like, oh my God, I can't breathe, or I have a stomach ache, they'll send you a doctor to your home, depending on the emergency.
Yes.
They have this scientific calculator and everything. When whoever receives the call is a professional who knows how to how to grade your emergency. If it's oh, I have a sore throat, I'm coughing a lot,
Right.
that could wait a little. But if I'm getting it, but you're still going to be seen at home, maybe in 4 hours, but they'll send you a doctor. But if it's something like, I can't breathe, I mean, 30 minutes, or they might even indicate to you, go to the hospital. Do you have somebody that can take you? We have that service in our private policy. They
Yes.
go to your home. You're even, say you need antibiotic, they'll leave you at home with the antibiotic, with a little bag that knows when you need to be, how do you say this?
Wow.
Gradually,
Doses, when you need the doses.
the doses. They do that for you. Why would you want to go to a hospital, to the emergency room, sit there 7 hours, wait 4 hours, and maybe get an infection with all those sick people over there?
Yeah.
It's better if they go to your home and take care of you at home.
That's awesome.
It
That
is. It
is,
is. I'm
you
telling you,
know,
this is
and when
VIP.
I say forget everything you know about the United States, because you may be fretting over things that you don't really need to fret over. That's
Uh-huh.
one example that you just gave, because, you know, I don't know how the insurance companies do here, but I know the doctors here, the doctor that we have on our team here, Dr. Duncan, Smart Clinic and Labs, and go ahead and give him a shout out. He is on point. He is on point. He is on WhatsApp. You know, Dr. Duncan, you know, if we have clients that are on our tour, you know, just like you'll be at our welcome dinner, Dr. Duncan is there. He meets everybody. But also, if you get sick while you're on our tour, Dr. Duncan comes for you. And that
Amazing.
is just unheard of, Angela, in the United States. It is just totally unheard of. So let me ask you this. When you have the public policy, EPS,
Epe,
EPS,
you said it
EPS,
right. Good.
EPS, do you go to the same hospitals that people that have private insurance
I
go to?
love that question. Very good. There's a huge difference between EPS, only having EPS, and private comprehensive. EPS will, it narrows your options.
Mhm.
There's only two or three, four maximum hospitals you can go to. If you want to see a specialist, you gotta go first and set up an appointment with your general doctor, and that general doctor then can refer you to get an appointment. Say you need a cardiologist, or you need a optometrist, or you need dermatologist. You need referrals, and you need to wait. Listen, EPS government insurance is the whole population in Colombia under EPS that cannot afford private comprehensive.
Yes.
Okay. So everybody's there on the same boat. You go to the emergency room, and if you're not dying, you're gonna have to wait. Okay.
And I think,
Private,
mhm.
private. I go on my phone book directly. Hey, I need a cardiologist. I think I want to have my heart checked. I don't have to ask permission to anybody. Call that doctor, set up my appointment, and go to him. Oh, I want to have my mammogram and everything really every year. I go to my gynecologist, writes up the order. I call the providers on my directory. I see that this one is in El Tesoro, close to where I live. Okay, I want to go there. Set up the appointment. As long as I present the written order and my policy, I'm entitled. On EPS, it's not as efficient and it is not as timely. You have to wait for everything. It's not like bing bong.
Mhm.
That's why I said for seniors who are above 69, they have that EPS is just in case I need a hospitalization, something really catastrophic. But then for my other stuff, a lot of people just pay out of pocket. But if you have the private policy, you only pay a copay of like $10 for everything you do, and you go as many times as you need to. As many times. I can go to the doctor 100 times a year. That's unlimited.
Wow.
Mhm.
So the policies, now, I don't know if I maybe just never noticed it before, but the policies and some of the policies here in Panama, they're like a maximum. So you have a policy, but there's a maximum amount of coverage that you can use every year. Is that common in Colombia?
You know what? I've been 50 years and I've never found any of my clients stopped
Hmm.
by saying you used it up. No, I and you can see it on the contract. In the contract, when I send you like the contract, it's all in Spanish. That's why you have
Yes.
me.
Hmm.
And I've translated some stuff into English. So it tells you if you're gonna have doctor's visits in the hospital and he's out of the network, we're gonna cover it to a maximum of blah blah blah. But if you're in the hospital, in my mind, even me as a Colombia, I wouldn't think of calling another doctor to come see me. I see the
Hmm.
doctors in the hospital. Why would I do that?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? They're in the hospital. That's what they get paid from the company, the hospital.
Right. But you're gonna have some people, I'll never forget a friend's mother. She had a mass in her breast and she lived in New Jersey and would travel to North Carolina every year to go to her gynecologist. You know how many states she had to go through? And that's how she felt about this guy, this gynecologist. And so I guess in extreme situations like that, where
Yes.
somebody is like, okay, no, this is the only doctor that's ever served me and my family in this era, in this with this type of illness. You know, sometimes it's like hereditary stuff, and you have that doctor that knows your whole family. You know, you might some maybe
It
something
can
like that.
happen,
But
but it's
but in
really
most
rare.
cases, yeah, that would be very rare case.
I've
So
never
then
had the first one.
let
Never.
me ask you this. So just basically, you know, we know the 12% for the FASA. Just basic numbers for an insurance policy for a healthy woman, maybe in her 50s or 60s. But
Yes.
also, let me say this. This is good. This is a good question coming, girl. Okay. Does your Does the healthcare system rate people based on their ethnicity?
Never. Oh my God, please, please, at all. No, no, no,
Okay.
no. No, 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 no. No.
I'm pretty
And
sure
like I
that's done
told you,
in
I
the
have a
United
beautiful
States.
client,
Mm-hmm.
name is Chris,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things he told me when he was telling me about ethnics, that we don't want
Mm-hmm.
to go into there, but you find that in the States. He was like, I can't believe in Colombia, I feel so
Mm-hmm.
included. How do you say that?
See,
Like
included,
part of
like,
everybody,
I'm just a part of,
of
you
the
know,
whole
yes, a
humanity.
part
I'm
of
a
the whole.
part of the whole. And
Yeah.
he lives in a great neighborhood, high end, because I've been there with them. I
Mm-hmm.
become
Mm-hmm.
friends with my clients. Like we
Mm-hmm.
go out for
Mm-hmm.
wine and then we end up in dinner and whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, Angela, this is so amazing because I never felt this way before. And his boyfriend tells me, I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen Chris so happy about
Wow.
that particular subject you just brought up.
Yeah. Well, you have that. I mean, of course, racism exists everywhere, and I just always
True.
put that
Not
out
in
there. It's
Colombia.
just different kinds. Nah, believe me, it's there too, but it's not. It's just
Very
not the
little.
racism. It's just not the same racism, and
Oh,
it's not to the same extent. Believe me when I tell you it does. Okay, it exists everywhere, and it's sometimes it's quiet and it's subtle and it's something that you don't even really think a lot about. But when you go to places, and this is not a conversation about racism and ethnicity, but one of the things that you notice right away as a Black person coming from North America is I notice who's on the TV, you know, and
yeah.
it's little things like that. It's like, wow, so all these amazing novellas, there are no Black people that are in this world, as far as, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did they know
Okay,
Black
I
people in
understand
your
what you're
town?
saying.
It's not that they're white people, but they're melanated people, mestizo or whatever. But as far as, like, sure enough, African curly hair, it's a difference. So you have that. But what I'm saying about the healthcare is
No,
that,
no.
say for example, you know, Black people are more likely to have hypertension,
No. Now
and
that you
different
brought up
things like that.
hypertension, it's
Huh?
not a problem. If you have high
Oh,
blood pressure,
really?
it's not a
Oh,
problem.
that's good to know.
Not a problem, and it's not based off ethnics, any of the things here with our health insurance. I have many American Black citizens that live here
Mhm.
that are elderly people. They don't even see your picture.
Right,
It's me
right.
who sees you or talk to you on the phone, and I don't even ask that. Then after
That's
you're
interesting.
insured, and
Every
like
every
Chris,
country is different. But the
eh,
first thing that you're asked when you're filling out any document, or even if you are filling out an application for health insurance here, they're gonna ask you what your
really, your
ethnicity
background.
is. They're
Wow.
gonna ask you what your ethnicity is, or do you identify as Black American? If you're Hispanic, do you identify as a white
They
Hispanic?
ask you here gender.
They ask you all that, and then they ask you your gender and
No,
your age as well.
not in the your
But I
insurance.
believe they use all of that to put you into possibilities of ailments. And
No.
Black people are more likely to have, like, hypertension, and things like
Oh,
that.
I
And it's
didn't
probably
know that.
because all the
And how,
stress that we've been in all of our lives,
of
and diet
course.
as well. So let me get back to just throw out an idea of what insurance would look like for the comprehensive. A
Okay.
best
I
case
was going to
scenario that
say on the
you've done.
private comprehensive, our premiums are pretty much stable from newborn to a 14-year-old. They stay the same,
Uh-huh.
except that every year on the renewal, it would increase very little according to the cost of living for health. You
Uh-huh.
know, every year in January, our
Mhm.
providers for and any business will increase their pricing, cost of living. So they base it on last year's cost of living. It could have been, I think in Colombia it was 5 or 6%, something like that, between 4 and 6%. So I need to tell my clients, okay, your insurance went up, I don't know, I'm just gonna say something hypothetical, 100,000 pesos more because of this, blah, blah, blah. And that's not huge. It's normal. I mean, you go to the groceries, what you paid last year is not the same what you're gonna pay this year. Okay,
So
so anyway,
100,000 pesos is like what in US
$20,
dollars? 20,
25,
20. Okay,
25.
2,200. Okay.
Okay, so it goes from 0, 14, then from 15 to 40-year-old, it says like I'm saying, except for the cost
Wow.
of living. Then at 51, it has a little bit, that's where it becomes a little bit more expensive. It's not based only on the cost of living, but then the rates go up a little until you turn 61. Then at 61, it might increase more. And then at 70, but it's a keeper for life. They're not going to throw you out because you're hospitalized, because you've used it a lot, because you're becoming too expensive for the company.
Mm-hmm.
I had my father who passed away. Wow, it's going to be like 10 years ago. And he was in that hospital for a very long time. You could have said, oh my
Wow.
God, they're going to throw us out of here. How much is this for the insurance? We didn't pay a penny, no
Wow.
out of pocket, nothing, just the coffee we bought at the cafeteria or we had lunch. Nothing, zero, zero,
Wow.
zero,
Wow.
zero, zero.
So if
Okay,
you
so I'm gonna
were
give you a price you asked me. I'm sorry,
okay.
I went a little bit out of the. So say for example, somebody between 15 and 40 in our top plan, which is our gold plan, that I can go into in specifics with each client later on because it would make
Mhm.
this really very long interview. Um, it's
So
13, it's like almost $1,400 a year
for the gold plan,
for the gold. For
girl,
40,
what? And that
yes,
would be for what age? That would be for the 15 to 40 age bracket, right?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. The top plan.
The top
That same
plan.
top plan for someone between 41 and 50,
Uh-huh.
$1,840 per year.
Okay.
You guys, you can pay with a foreign credit card. You save the finance charge. And $1,800 a year for having such a great plan is like, come on, no out-of-pocket deductible. You can start seeing a doctor, you can start seeing a specialist, you can get MRI, a colonoscopy, an electrocardiogram. I got injured and I need physical therapy on my knee, my shoulder, my elbow, because I play tennis or I was doing whatever. Um, blood work, blood work. If you get an order of like 8 different tests on one order, you only pay 45,000 pesos copay.
Wow.
But if you go to our labs, you pay zero. If you want blood work done in your home, I'll schedule it and they'll go to your home. I just did it for a client. He was like,
Wow.
wow, you did all of this for us? He was like, yes,
Wow.
I had my team. Like, again, it's not part of what agents do, but I like to
Yes.
make it
But
easy,
that's why I like
easy,
you.
easy,
So,
easy.
okay, so let's do the next one.
Okay, you like this,
So
huh?
I do.
Okay,
This is
okay.
fun.
So
So this
someone,
the
okay, so
next
we
one be
said 41,
51 to 61, right?
51 to 59. Sorry, I said that incorrect.
51 to
51 to
59.
59, $2,200
Okay.
the whole year. Top,
Hmm.
top, top, top.
And this is based on somebody in good health.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
The company starts charging new clients. I got to say this because I like to be really transparent.
Sure.
Like an extra premium for those to come into the policy after age 55, something like that, of
Uh-huh.
20%. But if
Uh-huh.
it's after 60, it's 30%. And then after 65, it could be 50%. I got to be
When you
really
coming in
clear.
late. So that
Yes,
would be,
I'm
so
talking
say for
about these are
example,
rates that are people that came in young. You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Okay,
Yes. Yes,
okay,
these are people. So, but I mean, so if you came in, so I am 60. Let's go up one more tier.
okay.
So we went
Let's
to
go up one
59.
more here. Okay, hold on. okay, one more tier. If you're 60 to 65, that's where
Uh-huh.
it becomes pricier. A
Okay,
lot of
so it goes, the
is
next step is
60,
65. So it's
65.
between 59 and 65, this tier.
So
Okay.
that would be $3,600
Okay.
per year.
$3,600 per year. And if
I'm
you
not
came
including here
in
the extra premium, okay? Remember that.
exactly. I wish I had, I don't know where my phone is, but so it would be 3,600, and then if it's over 60, you might have to add another 50% to that. It,
Yes, kind of.
it would
I
be
might be
so it
less,
would
but
be
I'd rather be safe saying
yes,
more than
CCC,
less to a
CCC,
client.
CCC. So, but even still, that would be like 5,400 based on my my
Yeah.
regular math here.
And I know
Uh,
clients that pay there like $1,000 a month for just a,
Girl, look, you
that's nothing.
pay
I told you.
In the United States, with a corporate sponsor, you might pay $1,200 a month if it's, especially if it's you and a spouse and a child or something like that. But you're gonna pay, I figured, like no less than 400 a month, just in a regular policy, good health and everything like that. So even if you looked at this, you take 5,400, do one more division for me, because I'm not
Yes,
going to
of
be able to
course.
do this. So
Okay.
5,400 divided by 12.
$450.
$450. $450, and that's for
No
somebody
out of
in the
pocket.
60s. In the 60s.
No out of pocket.
Yes. See, that right there
Unlimited
is what
doctors.
yes, that right there, let me tell you something, honey. That little math we just did right there was worth this whole conversation. I mean, absolutely amazing. I cannot stress enough to our listeners that when you are considering moving to another country, that you educate yourself to how things are done there, what you can get. Don't just automatically assume that you
Mhm.
cannot afford something based
Exactly.
on what you know from the United States. So I know some people, their wheels are turning. And I really do, we could go on and on with this, and
I know,
I am
exactly. And
so
listen, Charlotte,
grateful.
I'm willing to, I don't charge for coding.
Mhm.
You may come back, you may not, but I don't care. I like to educate. I
See,
like to inform. I want people that are informed when they move to Colombia, whether you buy it, whether you can afford it, whether you cannot afford it, whether you buy access card instead, or and then get your EPS. It's okay. It's okay, but you can always ask. These are approximate figures we gave.
yes, see.
Also, I have clients that are planning to move, say, for example, and they make a smart move. Okay, I want to do this. I'm moving like in 3 years or 2 years. But
I'm gonna
before
do
I
it
turn
now.
that age where they're going to
Yes,
charge that extra
yes.
premium, let's do it now, girl.
Let's do it. That's it.
And I'll
That
call
I
it. You
mean,
don't have to live
that
here.
that makes sense. That's
You don't
why
have to
we're
live
on this
here.
call today, Angela, because there are people that are already investigating, Colombia as a relocation opportunity. But knowing this, it can give you can at least start to position yourself. And because you don't have to be a resident, but to know that you have comprehensive insurance coverage that you can afford. Now, with these policies, and we got to get ready to close, but do you have to pay it all up front, or do they separate it into 12 payments like some
No,
US policies?
when you're a foreigner and you don't have a Colombian bank account, which is something that's something you're gonna have to another step you're gonna move forward
See,
when you live here. We can find the people that can help you do that. Um, Minimum you can pay the semester.
okay.
You can
So
pay like
you
the
might have
semester
like,
with your credit card, even sometimes that trimester, it all depends.
mhm,
As long as you promise me that you're going to stay minimum 1 year with the policy, because we don't sell temporary insurance as not, and that's
sure.
our business. Because some clients, you know what they do, and it happened to me, and I
Yes.
learned as I went.
Mhm.
Um, I really trust it. I trust everybody. That's me. I trust everybody until I
That's it,
find out. Until But I found some clients that would come to me, get the insurance for their visa, and disappear on me.
Yes.
And then you know what
And then
happens to
cancel
me?
the
I get
insurance.
punished. I get punished by the company.
Oh.
So that's not nice.
That is not nice. And not only that, if you're planning, this is so strategic. This is so valuable, Angela,
Exactly.
because you have to have insurance coverage in order to become a resident to get the visa. So
Exactly.
why not go ahead and do that now while
Exactly.
the cost is still, more reasonable than it will be in the next 5 years or the next 3 years because you're constantly aging. God willing, creek don't rise, they say.
Exactly.
But my goodness, this was so awesome.
I'm
Can
so
you
happy you
just give
liked
us
it.
some parting thoughts, whatever your parting words are for us in the audience? You've been amazing
Okay.
today.
I want to
And
welcome.
tell us how to get in touch with you,
Oh, yes,
Angela.
yes. Okay. I want to welcome each and everyone to reach out. Don't be shy. Don't be like, oh, I'm taking off her time. I don't mind dedicating 15, 20 minutes to an initial phone call to get the information. I don't mind preparing proposals, whether you go for it or you don't, but at least this gives you an idea on how to budget yourself on living in Colombia, aside from all your other expenses that you will have. But believe me, living in Colombia is a third of what you pay in the US, at least, right, Charlotte?
Or
Could be.
less.
Okay. The
Hmm.
other thing is that don't think of the private comprehensive insurance as if you can enroll in it and you're below 69 as something as like, no, I'm just going to do the travel because all I need is my visa and this is just a check mark I'm having. No, listen, you are going to have the best of the best healthcare in the world. Number two, you're preventive. I'm going to teach you how to use this policy. No, I'm never ill. I never use it. When somebody tells me that, I'm like, well, great, you're healthy. You're not using it. Good for you. But go take all your tests. Go to this doctor. I'll get you the appointment and she'll write
Hmm.
you blood work. Guys that are over a certain age, they need their prostate exam.
Prostate.
Women need their mammogram. I'll send you to a good OBG and use it for your preventive care. And I hope you never really have to use it for an emergency.
Hmm.
Never, ever.
Excellent.
So reach out. My WhatsApp, do you want to write it down? It's in Colombia, you dial +57
Hmm.
and then it's 318-516-5743.
Okay.
516. I don't want to confuse you. I
Uh-huh.
gave you the number.
Yeah, that we'll have it on the screen.
Yeah, I have it on the screen. I have social media, I have Instagram, I have Facebook. I have a web page. You can go in and look.
What's the name of the
Anything you guys,
webpage?
my web
Give
page,
us the website.
the website. Yeah, you're gonna, okay.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay. If you don't have it right
I'll,
up,
I'll,
that's
I'll
okay.
put it up for you so that you could
We'll
include it
just
at
put
the
all
end.
of your contact information on the
Please.
end.
Okay.
But I just want to thank you personally for taking time out your busy day. Angela, thank you for meeting with me when I was in Colombia and for being willing to come to our welcome dinner and share
I
with
can't
the
wait.
fortunate guests that are on our inaugural tour to Colombia. We're so excited. So
I am.
thank you, my love. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Charlotte. It's great meeting you, girl. And for
Mhm.
everybody, thank you so much for listening, taking the time. And again, I'm here to assist in any of your insurance needs and make it easy for you in Colombia, okay?
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Have a good
Okay,
day.
Angela.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Charlotte. Bye-bye.
Wow, 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 wow. Was that awesome, guys? Did you learn a lot about health insurance and other insurances I know we spent a lot of time talking about health insurance, but to be honest, health insurance is like the most popular insurance that expats, particularly Black expats in Panama, and I'm sure Black expats in this group in Medellin will be interested as well. I mean, it's a no-brainer. The fact that you don't have to be a resident of Colombia to be have that health insurance. Listen, especially if you are in If you are in, like, say, for example, Panama, we fly to Colombia, Medellin, in less than an hour. In less than an hour, you can be there. Guys, the healthcare is awesome. And it's so funny because you hear so much about, cosmetic surgery in Medellin. But when you get into it, I mean, in Colombia in general, but when you get into it and I'm meeting these professionals and building our team, we have a great doctor and hospital on staff ready to serve our Black expats in Medellin who are coming through our cultural relocation tour. When I tell you, we are set up. These professionals are absolutely, totally amazing. And I really, really, really do appreciate Angela coming and spending that time with us today. So, I'm going to let y'all go. But I just wanted to bring that to you. Again, Black Expats in Panama, Beat Tours has a new cultural relocation tour in Medellin, Colombia. We will be expanding even further. We're enlarging our territory. Thanks to you. Thank you for the interest that you have in learning about other options to live in the world. I love Panama. I absolutely love Panama, and there's nothing you can do about it. However, it's a big world out here, y'all. And different places provide different opportunities. Don't just stay in the United States because that's what you know. Come with me on a cultural relocation tour and find out what you don't know about a place and find out, it's just so amazing to be able to create the life that we want for ourselves, to strategically create and live a life that serves you. You know what I mean? I mean, for real. And so, listen, I gotta go, but I want to thank my main man, Daryl Spears, who produces my Black Expat Journey podcast. And I just want to thank him for always being my guy for so many years. And I want to thank my editor too. I never do give Alejandro a shout out, but I have an amazing editor who works on these videos that go to YouTube. So I just want to thank him too, because he's just awesome. And we've been working together now for a couple of years. A lot of the other stuff that you see me do, believe it or not, I'm still doing it myself. You probably can believe it because it's just so amateurish. But anyway, it's me. I just come to you from a straight, authentic place. Sometimes it's just information that I want to get out to you, and I don't have time to figure out what to send and who to give what to send. I just don't. So I just open my heart and let it fly. So we are Black Expats in Panama Cultural Relocation Tour is winding down. We're getting ready to start, heading to the end of the year. But our prices will be going up on our Beat Cultural Relocation Tour. So don't hesitate. If you plan on coming on a tour with us, you need to come on. Go on and get your ticket because the tours do sell out quickly. We have released our Sisters in Panama. Sisters in Panama Women's Retreat will be January 16th through the 21st, 2026. And the theme is We Deserve It. And so we've just decided to take it up a notch, do a little bit more luxury and relaxation too on this tour. So that's going to be really nice. If you are a sister who will fix another sister's crown without telling the world that her crown was crooked, we want you on our Sisters in Panama retreat. If that's not you, this is not your retreat. Because when I tell you only good, genuine, authentic, loving, beautiful sisters come on the SIP tours, and that's how we want to keep it. So if that's your heart, we want you to come and experience just the sisterhood of all of that. Our Brazil trip. We are going to Brazil April 2026. That still has spots available. We're going to do some country flights. We're going to Salvador. It's going to be an entirely amazing Afro-Brazilian experience. You know, I got to put that Afro on there. And the same with our Medellin tour. Our Medellin tour, the first one is August 15th through the 20th. We will be releasing the next one soon. But, you know, I had to dig a little bit deeper for Afro culture in Medellin. It's just a different kind of place. But I'm looking forward to sharing what I found with you. Okay. So with that said, I just want to say thank you for everything. Follow Black Expats in Panama everywhere at Black Expats in Panama. Remember that we have on the second Wednesday is our Beat B2B network. You don't want to miss that. If you do business in or want to do business in Panama City, then you don't want to miss our B2B. It's a wonderful opportunity to meet and network with, locals and foreigners, right? The third Wednesday is Welcome Wednesday, which is always special. It's held at the Emotions Dinner Theater at the Hilton on Avenida Balboa. And on the fourth Sunday, we have our beloved Cafe and Conversation. Oh my goodness, the last time we had the Cafe and Conversation, my goodness, guys, I think we had about 35 people there. They kept having to put more and more tables together. So we're asking that we kind of do a little bit of a reservation system in case in case this is going to be a trend. Now we had missed the month before, so I don't know if maybe that was just because everybody had just missed it or what, but it was awesome. So help us out by, RSVPing on the Facebook event or, sending us a message at reservations at Black Expats in Panama or info at blackexpatsinpanama.net and let us know that you're going to be joining us. So with that said, I bid you a wonderful day. I love you. I love you. I love you. There's just nothing you can do about it. This is your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama. Peace and love, everybody.